There's been a lot of talks and a lot of speculation, not just in the Magic community, but in the NBA community as well. Who should the Magic take with the #1 overall pick? There's 3 prospects at the top of this draft that are on their tier and on their own island, with guys like Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, and Jabari Smith. And the Magic have had a lot of success in the past with the #1 overall pick. You look in 1992, the Magic selected Shaquille O'Neal. In 1993, they took Chris Webber, but they traded him to the Warriors on draft night in exchange for Penny Hardaway. And in 2004, the Orlando Magic took a future Hall of Famer and a top 75 player in Dwight Howard, probably the best Magic player in its history. But I'm here to talk about today who the Magic should take with the #1 overall pick. I'll be talking about each individual candidate, Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, and Jabari Smith. And then at the very end, I'll give my verdict and consensus as to who we should take. But before we get into today's video, if you guys could, drop me a like. It takes 1 second and it helps me in the channel out tremendously. And if you guys are new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more NBA, Jacksonville Jaguars, and of course, Orlando Magic content that I do here on YouTube. You guys can follow me on my socials on Instagram and Twitter. The link tree will be in the description down below. And you guys can follow my podcast that I do every week with my co-host, Darian Chill Takes Talking NFL and NBA. The link tree will be in the description down below. Now let's get into today's video. So the first prospect I'm going to be talking about is with center from Gonzaga, Chet Holmgren. Now Chet Holmgren is one of the most rare and unique prospects coming out of the draft in recent memory. His NBA comparison comes to a guy like Kristaps Porzingis, who at the time, Kristaps Porzingis, many fans didn't know of just because of the international play, but fans are very aware of Chet Holmgren and the season that he had at Gonzaga. Chet Holmgren comes in at 7 feet tall with a wingspan of about 7 feet 6 inches. And Chet this past season as a freshman at Gonzaga averaged 14.1 points per game, 9.9 rebounds, 1.9 assists per game. He averaged just under a steal, averaged 3.7 blocks, which I believe was top 5 in the nation, 60% from the field, and was a 39% shooter from deep. And the biggest weakness you look at with Chet Holmgren right off the bat is just strictly off the fact that his frame and his physical attributes just quite aren't there. He's just under 200 pounds and he's 7 feet tall. He's obviously got a very skinny frame, but having that length has helped him defensively, and he's been a great rebounder down low, and that's why he's able to be such a unique unicorn type of player, and that's where he gets that versatility and a lot of that comparisons to a guy like Kristaps Porzingis. Chet Holmgren does a great job down low. Even though he doesn't have the physical tools, he does a great job just hustling, grabbing rebounds, being a presence down low, and just strictly off the fact that his frame and size is a deterrent for guys coming into the lane and not wanting their shots blocked. We see that with a lot of guys like Rudy Gobert in the NBA, where even when Rudy doesn't make a physical play on the ball, just his mere presence around the rim causes a big game plan difference for when opposing offenses have to go against him. And that's something Chet Holmgren did numerously at Gonzaga this past season. And while the Zags didn't make it too far into the tournament, I believe that they only won 2 games in the tournament. I believe they were kicked out in the Sweet 16 if memory serves me correctly. And despite them not making a deep playoff run in the tournament this past season, Chet Holmgren is a very phenomenal player who has an extremely high ceiling, easily the highest ceiling out of any of these 3 players that I will be talking about, but probably the lowest floor out of all of these guys. He's going to have to add some weight more than likely to exceed at the next level, and it depends on the situation in which he's placed in, how he's going to be utilized. Maybe as a stretch big, possibly as a guy just down low, but nonetheless, he's going to be a great presence defensively. Now let's get on to Jabari Smith. Now Jabari Smith, out of these 3 guys, initially he was the guy that I had watched the most of just strictly off of SEC play. Because I'm a big Gator fan, I followed the Gators and watched a lot of college basketball in the SEC this past season. Prior to the tournament, Jabari Smith was the name that I was most familiar with and I was more comfortable with. Now, Jabari Smith, his freshman season at Auburn, averaged 16.9 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal per game, 1 block per game, shot about 43% from the field, was an extremely accurate shooter from deep, 42%, and Jabari Smith comes in at 6 feet 10 inches and has a wingspan of 7'1". He's easily going to translate to the NBA game, at least in terms of his shooting. It might not be 42% like you saw at his freshman season at Auburn, but Jabari Smith has got a good high release point, good frame, good base, and clearly you saw it time and time again in the SEC and throughout the little bit of the tournament play in which they had before they were knocked out by Miami, I believe. Jabari Smith is a very capable shooter and has got great form. Jabari Smith defensively is not so much a rim protector, even though he's more than capable of playing with athleticism, playing on both sides of the ball. You saw there was plenty of times out on the wing and times where he switched, where he can hold his own. He does a good job in the fast break, in the half court offense as well too. But Jabari Smith has even alluded to it himself in his workout video that he had with the Orlando Magic. Let me play that clip for you guys right here.
Didn't necessarily show at the collegiate level.
I think I'll be able to show my passing ability, my ability to make the right play and not settle for tough shots. And I think my shot selection will improve a lot at the next level with just making the right pass, playing out of ball screens, and just, making the right reads.
Jabari's shown an ability to take accountability, but also to understand the fact that he's young. He knows that he still has to be able to contribute in other ways outside of just shooting, and that he's going to learn to be a willing passer as his game progresses and as he learns, takes his game to the next level. Jabari Smith is a very talented player, great two-way player, and I think that he provides a lot of athleticism to any team that would take him. Let's get on to Paolo Banchero now. Now, Paolo Banchero is another very popular name out there, and he will be a top 3 pick in this year's draft. He may even be the #1 overall pick. But Paolo Banchero was a huge reason as to why Duke was able to get to the Final Four this past season before eventually losing to the Tar Heels, who were able to advance to the finals. But Paolo Banchero this past season at Duke averaged 17.2 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 1.1 steals per game, just under a block per game, shot 48% from the field, so good efficiency there, and about 33.8% from deep. Now, when I watch Paolo Banchero, and of course you watch Duke games because they're always one of the best teams in the country year in and year out, one of the best programs, Paolo Banchero does a great job scoring down low, and I think that's where he's most comfortable at. When you see him bully ball his way down inside the basket, he's great inside the arc, great footwork, and just knows how to contort his body and able to get these finishing layups. He does a great job when he's either going downhill or he's already down below by the basket and he's getting some points in the paint. Now, Banchero, while only shooting 33.8% from 3, I do think that he's a capable shooter. I do think that at times he can stretch the floor, but for the Magic, he reminds me more so of a Kiki outside on the 3-point line shooting. Kiki can get hot and he can have his spurts, but more often than not, you're not comfortable with him taking the 3, and that's really where I see Banchero. But really, with the weakness that I see with him is just defensively. I don't really see him defensively giving it 110%. I don't see the intensity and the tenacity, even in the tournament when everything is do or die and it's, one game elimination. I didn't really see all that much out of Banchero defensively, and I'd like to see that improved. He's got the frame and size, and he's got the physicality coming in at 6 feet 10 inches tall. But Banchero definitely needs to get better in terms of his footwork defensively, moving laterally, and also just playing with some more tenacity on the defensive side of the ball. Now for my verdict. Who should the Orlando Magic take with the #1 overall pick? Let me announce it for y'all. With the #1 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Jabari Smith. Now, Jabari Smith, I think, is the clear-cut favorite for the Orlando Magic and should be the consensus for the Magic to take with the #1 overall pick. But Jabari Smith, I just believe, ceiling and in terms of what the Magic need, in terms of the way their team is fundamentally constructed, Jabari Smith is the right guy. We see that Wendell Carter Jr., while he can't hit the 3, we saw a lot of times with Jamal Mosley this past season. Mo Bamba and Wendell were on the court together. Mo would have more times than not play the stretch 4 and stretch 5, whatever you want to say, and Wendell would be banging down low, even though Wendell can move out to the 3-point line. I do think that what Jabari Smith can provide for the Orlando Magic, not just this season, but just moving forward, having a two-way guy who's athletically gifted, he's got the intangibles, and he's going to be a great shooter. And you know that just because at a young age, you see his form, you see his base, and the production is there, he's only going to continue to be a better volume shooter as he continues to progress. And I think that he's a better, offensively speaking, Jonathan Isaac, who's going to be coming back off of injury, who the Magic have not even seen since the bubble. Jabari Smith provides the athletic length and versatility on defense to excel at the next level. He provides everything you want offensively, I think, to coincide with guys like Wendell Carter Jr. on the floor, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, you name it. The Magic are going to have a lot of length and versatility on the court. And if they want to go Chet Holmgren, by all means, go for it. Because the Magic, historically, they keep taking length over production, I guess, in college. And that's what they're banking on. And maybe they go Chet Holmgren. Maybe they'll go Paolo Banchero. I don't know. Whoever the Magic select at the end of the day, I will support. But Jabari Smith, I think makes the most sense for the Magic. And just watching that interview after his post-draft workout, and I'm not just basing it off of this, with the Orlando Magic, he felt right at home. You saw the way the media was addressing him. You saw the way that he was comfortable and what he's talked about with some of these Magic guys. I understand there's the connection with Chet Holmgren and Jalen Suggs from their past, and obviously Daga as well too. But Jabari Smith just feels like the right pick to me. And when you look at the way the NBA is just trending and the production and the revolution of the game with stretch bigs, Jabari Smith is going to fit seamlessly with guys like Wendell Carter Jr., regardless if Mo Bamba's retained, because he's going to be a restricted free agent. The Magic are getting length, they're getting offensive production, and they don't need to just go based off length and versatility and defensive prowess, because they have defensive pieces on this team. And I do think that Jabari Smith, and I can just imagine him in the fast break getting a lob from Jalen Suggs or Markelle Fultz, is just a thing of beauty. I can already see it. Jabari Smith should be the pick for the Orlando Magic. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you think the Magic should take with the #1 overall pick? And if you guys enjoyed today's video, like I said, make sure y'all drop me a like. It takes 1 second and it helps me in the channel tremendously. And if you guys are new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell for more NBA, Jacksonville Jaguars, and of course, Orlando Magic content that I do here on YouTube. But Brett James, aka BJ, I'm out, y'all. Go Magic, baby. Peace.